Hello. It was a wild and stormy night. Or rather, it is a wild and stormy night. There's some sort of hurricane going on out there, and you can hear every single drop of rain and gust of wind in this attic. So, it's Saturday, and I'm reading the paper again, the Daily Telegraph, and I have taken the advice of, just a minute, get rid of that. I've taken the advice of a couple of my viewers, thank you very much, and so to stop me having to leaf through the paper looking for stories, I've looked at a few and I've put these little stickers in there. So the first one is this. What are the 2020 rules? No, I'll do, okay. Hello there. What are the 2020 rules for bearing skin? I'm back. I'll put the article up here, but it's very broad. I might not be able to get all of it in there. The conversation about this has come about as a result of this. This is a photograph of Tracy Brabin, a Labour Member of Parliament, who was in a debate in the House of Commons and was not sitting on the back benches, where you might say she might have been caught by surprise and forced to stand up, but she was actually at the dispatch box. So that's right at the front. So she was speaking for the Labour cabinet. She was representing the Labour cabinet, and she turned up in an off-the-shoulder dress. It caused some controversy, and her response to this was that people were being sexist. Some of the tweets she got were perhaps just a little on the sexist side, in fact quite a lot. I think somebody said that it looked like she'd been banged over a wheelie bin or something along those lines. But the fact is that that dress is not appropriate for any sort of a business environment. Parliament is, believe it or not, you might not have thought so after what happened during the Brexit debate, but it is a business environment. And I do go on about hair and things. Her hair is loose and, hanging down. It's not even tied back. And her dress is slipping off her shoulder. And when you look like that, there is a sexual suggestion to the way you're dressed. And that's fine if you're at a party. You're supposed to look a little bit sexy or a little bit risque maybe, but not in Parliament. And quite frankly, all this up, she started saying this is a feminist issue. No, it isn't. It's not a feminist issue. If you expect to be taken seriously as a serious politician, then you don't wear an off-the-shoulder dress. That's what I say. Okay, now the next bit. Let's have a look at this. Nancy Pelosi's little pet when she tore up Donald Trump's speech, standing right behind him, so she knew it was not like she just tore it up and sort of for her own personal satisfaction. It was right there on camera, and she knew it was right there on camera. But apparently there's a precedent for that, and I have no idea about this. Well, you see it's in the paper. I'll put the scanned picture up there. I hope, and this is in the Saturday comment, which is written by Juliet Samuel. I hope the American public lives up to the example set by Lisa Simpson. A tit deserves a tat. So it was that at the end of Donald Trump's chest-beating address about how Americans carved the greatest republic in the history of the universe out of the bare, savage rock of an empty frontier, well, empty except for Native Americans, she says here, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi unsmilingly tore up her copy of the speech. Tit duly followed. I think she got that wrong. That should be tat. Oh, tit duly followed tat. Sorry. Now, I just want to tell anyone who doesn't know English or English that well, there are several meanings of the word tit. I know in America it just means a female bosom of some description. But in British English, at any rate, it is also an expression of disparagement for somebody. You may say somebody is a real, and you're not being particularly complimentary. On the other hand, the word tat, which is just the opposite of, in tit for tat. But also tat in British English, I don't know about American English, means rubbish. You say, you bought a load of old tat there, meaning what you got was worth, I went onto eBay and I got this, isn't it lovely? No, it's tat. It's tatty. Actually, you could say the previous story about the Labour Member of Parliament with the off-the-shoulder dress. You could say she looked tatty. So we have here a situation of somebody being a tit and tat being a lot of rubbish talked about it. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo mocked Ms. Pelosi by posting a picture of Lisa Simpson, the cartoon character, sobbing pathetically as she tore up her own patriotic speech in an episode aired back in 1991. Oh, Mike Pompeo certainly has a long memory. With depressing predictability, the actress who voices Lisa then betrayed her own tit-ish qualities by declaring in response, F, and I think she used the whole word there, you, Pompeo, for co-opting my character. Oh, for goodness sake. You don't own your character. You are a paid actress, whoever you are, Mrs. Lisa Simpson's voice, and it's not your character. You're reading lines. That's the trouble with actors. Now, I have noticed in America, actors endorse politicians and that sort of thing, and it seems that the American public actually accepts them as authorities on these sorts of things. In Britain, you get people like Hugh Grant endorsing politicians for various political reasons, and he gets made merciless fun of, because round here, people still regard actors as people who read other people's lines, which says something about the British public, doesn't it? Of which I am very proud, I have to say. A producer of The Simpsons joined the pile-on by demanding that Pompeo never, ever, ever, ever again use the cartoon's material, beyond the thought that the whole lot of them were an unbearable bunch of tits. My main annoyance was that Lisa, the girly swat of the cartoon that I watched avidly as a child, and obviously the character to whom I'm most related, had been maligned again. She wasn't sobbing out of frailty in that episode, as Mr. Pompeo implied, but in anger after witnessing a congressman taking a bribe. She soon gets the guy jailed for corruption. I wonder if the Bidens are going to be in the same position. Okay, next story is, what do we have here? Oh, here we are. Oh, an ugly picture of Harvey Weinstein. Oh yes, well, we're back to fashion again, just, because as I keep saying, fashion is a symptom. It's not a cause here. So this is, I hope they paid that man enough to wear that suit. We were talking about elegance in the last video. That's not elegant. And it's not businesslike. If a guy turned up to a business meeting wearing that, then I'll put the picture up there, he'd have to be very, very, very rich, wouldn't he? Oh, okay, let's get on to something a bit more serious. Begum loses first stage of appeal over citizenship. I hope you all remember this. Shamima Begum was a girl. She was 15 when she left. She sneaked out of Britain and went to join ISIS, the Islamic State. She married and she had 2 children who died, and then a third one who died very shortly after it was born. I say it because I don't know whether it was a boy or a girl. Well, I've had a lot of people saying that they didn't think that was her baby. We don't know, but you know, as it so happens, when a mother says a child's died, you have to give her some latitude. But the British government don't want her back. Now, the interesting thing is that she is also a citizen of Pakistan, and she should, if she likes the Muslim religion so much, she should be happy to go to Pakistan. But for some reason she isn't. That's a mystery to me that will pursue me to my dying day. I'm going to read some of this. Tribunal rules ISIL bride, I don't know why they're calling it ISIL now, could be stripped of her nationality without rendering her stateless, by Jack Hardy. Shamima Begum, the ISIL bride, is hoping to be granted additional legal aid funding to take the government to the Court of Appeal after failing to get her British citizenship reinstated. The former Bethnal Green schoolgirl, now 20, left the UK when she was 15 to live under the rule of Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, in Syria, where she married a Dutch fighter and had 3 children. Oh, it says here just the one husband. Well, fair enough. Last year, she was found heavily pregnant and mourning the death of her 2 eldest children in a refugee camp during the fall of the so-called caliphate. I'm not going to criticise the English there. Sajid Javid, the then Home Secretary, stripped Ms Begum of her citizenship after she expressed little remorse for her extremist past, a move her lawyers claimed left her unlawfully stateless. Yesterday, Ms Begum, who continues to be held in the Al-Roj camp, failed in the first stage of her legal battle against the decision. The Special Immigration Appeals Commission, a tribunal that hears national security cases, found Ms Begum was not rendered stateless as she had a right to Bangladeshi citizenship, which is correct. A panel claimed her plight in the conflict-shattered region was a result of her own choices. Yes. What happened with Shamima Begum was that she was 15 and an impressionable girl. Up to there, I have sympathy for her, and she left for this romantic adventure to go and join ISIS, and in that I have sympathy for her as well, when she was 15. But then she married, she had children, and she didn't try to get out. She was quite happy to work as an enforcer for ISIS. She was apparently part of the police in the towns that ISIS had taken over, and she was as happy to give her support to that foul and degenerate political and religious system, that murderous bunch of thugs. She was as happy as could be to look after them and support them. The only time she wanted to come back to Britain was when they started losing and she was dislocated. If she'd have been allowed to stay there, she'd have looked quite happily at heads in buckets left on the public street or on spikes on the park railings, and she'd have been perfectly happy with that because she was a supporter of this revolting Nazi excuse for a group of people. So I don't have sympathy for her. I did have sympathy for her when she had a child. Because of the child, not because of her. But now, yeah, she can go to Bangladesh. She likes the Muslim religion so much, she can go somewhere where it's practiced properly. Okay. And while we're on the subject of terrorists, I'm sorry to tell you that this has happened. Jailed terrorist freed early ahead of bid to tighten law. There was some discussion. Oh, here. This is a sad story. A young man on a camping trip fell off that magnificent cliff, one of those magnificent cliffs. They're so beautiful, and there's tragedy there around them. But let's get back to this. This is potentially much worse tragedy. A convicted terrorist who was described as a danger to the public has been released from prison early ahead of tough new laws expected to change the rules. I did mention that the government is trying to push through legislation really quickly to stop early release of terrorists who are in jail. And they want them to serve their whole term. The fact, though, is if you put somebody like this, who has these religious beliefs about death and heaven and killing infidels, you can put him in prison for the full term of 4 years, and when he comes out, he's still going to have those objectionable, murderous opinions. There isn't anything at all there's very little you can do to disabuse him of his fixation with dying in a blaze of glory and mangled bodies all around. So they might keep a few more in jail for a couple more years, but they're going to be just as dangerous when they get out. And we have to admit that. We have to think about what we're going to do there. Jamshed Javid, a former chemistry teacher, that's a shame. He was a productive member of society, and then his brain got unscrewed somehow. Jamshed Javid was jailed for 6 years in March 2015 after he was found guilty of trying to travel to Syria to join the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. Despite being handed an extended sentence, he was cleared for release last year and was recently let out of prison, it has emerged. Yeah, well, he's emerged as well, hasn't he? The government is seeking to introduce emergency legislation to prevent the automatic early release of convicted terrorists. The move follows the attacks by Usman Khan in November and Sudesh Aman last Sunday. Both men had previously been jailed for terror offences and then let out of prison early. Javid, whose wife was pregnant, attempted to join ISIL in 2013 after helping his younger brother travel to Syria. He was arrested hours before he was due to leave the UK, and police later found he'd been researching Abu Hamza and Abu Qatada, the radical clerics. The judge said Javid remained adherent to a violent jihadist mindset. You are an individual whose potential danger to the public in this country or abroad is clear. The parole board said his case was concluded in June last year and he has since been released. It's understood that Mohammed Zahir Khan, a Sunderland shopkeeper, is due to be released on February the 28th. While around 5 other terrorists are expected to be let out in March, unless the new law is in force. As many as 50 terrorists could be free this year. Well, that's nice to know. Okay, let's have a look at this. Now, senior Tories form Wolverines group to oppose how do you pronounce that? Huawei, that's it, that's how it goes. Now, my personal opinion, I'm not too sure that these stories about 5G have any scientific basis, but what I do think is that if you have the Chinese making all your telecommunications equipment, then you are going to end up with the Chinese listening in on your conversations. There is absolutely no way that you could convince me that it's going to be secure. No way at all. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. And a group of MPs don't think so either. Senior Conservatives opposed to giving Huawei access to Britain's 5G network have formed a group nicknamed the Wolverines to lobby MPs to raise concerns. The Wolverines, maybe it's because they're howling meaninglessly at the moon from the way people are taking notice of them. MPs, have written to fellow members warning that the Chinese company has been allowed into the UK by stealth, having allegedly lobbied behind the scenes for the past decade. In the letter seen by the Daily Telegraph, the MPs say they are working to find a better solution in support of the government's broader objectives. Last month, Boris Johnson approved allowing Huawei to build parts of Britain's 5G network. The group opposing that deal includes former Cabinet Ministers David Davis and Owen Paterson and Defence Committee Chairman Tobias Ellwood. Apparently the Wolverines is a reference to the resistance group in the 1984 film Red Dawn, starring Patrick Swayze. Of blessed memory. So a lot of people have been speaking out against Huawei, Australian members of Parliament as well. No, it's very dangerous. You make your own security telecommunications equipment. It's not, it used to be that we could just get people to make stuff for us, and that was as far as it went. But it doesn't work like that nowadays. And people who are still stuck in the old days of, free trade. I mean, I'm very much in favour of free trade, but this isn't a matter of free trade anymore. I once bought some riding boots that had been made in England. I was speaking to the chairman of the company, and he said to me, these are the last riding boots that are actually being made in Britain. All the rest are coming from Germany and Italy. And he was quite proud of that. And then he said, we could not pursue a war with China because they make all the soldiers' boots. And now the fact is, if they did make all the soldiers' boots, well, so far as I know, the boots wouldn't be listening in on the soldiers' manoeuvres, but they would be on the soldiers' phones. Every time I look at my phone, there's all sorts of apps in there that's tracking my movements. Yeah, just generally, I have something called Parallel Spaces, which has two systems on the phone, and it tells me when I look at it, Parallel Spaces is tracking your location. So yes, I really am very nervous about the Huawei business. That's potentially very dangerous to this country. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that little romp through the paper. I finished the crossword this morning. Wasn't a very good one. Anyone who likes the Telegraph crossword, it was a little uninspired this week. All right, I'll get this sorted out and we'll see how crinkly this paper is. If you want to donate or contact, the information will be rolling over the Graniopteryx as I speak. Please like, subscribe and share because it does help with the algorithm. If you visit my channel on YouTube and one day discover that I've disappeared without warning, you'll still find me on BitChute or Minds. Just go to either of those platforms and do a search for Graniopteryx. If you're already watching this on BitChute or Minds, good for you. Meanwhile, if you're watching this on YouTube, remember that you must keep checking the subscribe and bell icons because occasionally they reset. Till next time.